Whether you play tennis competitively, recreationally, or both, chances are you're trying to level up your tennis fitness outside of the tennis court too, such as at the track or the gym. Or maybe tennis is just one of many activities that you participate in. Not every shoe is going to be good for every activity. So let's find out what are the 3 best training shoes for tennis players. First of all, when looking for a training shoe, you're not going after a shoe that's going to help you win your local 5K or marathon or make you the envy of every CrossFit gym within a 50-mile radius. You're looking for a shoe that will first do no harm, second, provide comfort, and third, save your feet for the tennis court. So my main rules of thumb when selecting a training shoe is it needs to be stable in all directions, especially at the heel and the ball of the foot. It has to have a dense, thick midsole to prevent repetitive stress type injuries like plantar fasciitis, Achilles tendonitis, and stress fractures. You need to breathe well and have room in the toe box. So starting at number 3 is the New Balance 940 V3. The 940 is a maximalist control-focused running shoe with a straight last, a mixed foam midsole with 3 different kinds of foam in the midsole. Dense in the heel, and it gets less dense as it goes to the forefoot so that it can bend. It's got a rigid shank in the middle, and this shoe resists bending pretty well. The only place it bends is at the big toe joint where it's supposed to. It's got a mixed mesh and stitched in upper with some foxing around the heel. When it comes to absorbing shock, these shoes really don't have many competitors. The only competitor that this shoe has is the next shoe on this list. Now coming in at number 2 is the Brooks Beast and Brooks Ariel. The Beast is the men's version, the Ariel is the women's version. Now the Brooks Beast and the Brooks Ariel are pretty similar to the New Balance 940 except in a few key areas. Number 1, the shank of the Beast and the Ariel goes all the way from the heel and comes up into the midfoot, whereas the 940s, it really is concentrated in the midfoot of the shoe. That's the external shank. The next part of it is the mixing of the foam in the midsole, I think is a little more intuitive from Brooks. They have one piece, if you can notice here, one piece of foam that goes right through the heel, and that's right where you put a lot of shock. So you get some cushion there, but you also have the super dense midsole around that. So you get the control plus the comfort in the heel that you might not get from the 940s. The Beast and the Ariel also have an external heel counter that is just unrivaled by any other shoe. It is a plastic external heel counter that is much stiffer than the 940s. It's much stiffer than most other maximalist control focused shoes out there. This is going to really help lock your heel in, also prevent those repetitive stress injuries because it's going to keep your heel stable. And one other reason I really like the Beast and the Ariel is the upper materials. It's a much lighter upper than some other shoes you will see. It's more of a mesh upper. The breathability is fantastic. They are a bulky shoe and midsole is a little heavy. However, with this upper, your foot breathes really well, so you don't notice the bulk of this shoe as much. Now, as a reminder, I'm not sponsored by New Balance or Brooks. I do have affiliate links in the description if you want to get these shoes. However, I am not sponsored. They didn't pay me any money for saying this. These are actually the shoes that I do recommend to my patients in the office. So coming in at number 1 is a shoe that I personally wear on the treadmill or when working out, and that's the New Balance 840. The 840 is pretty similar to the 940, except in a few key areas once again. Number 1, it is not as mixed foam of a midsole as the 940 is. You have this pretty dense midsole foam that runs all the way from the heel to toe, but then the adsorb layer of the midsole is just a little more robust than the 940 in my opinion. It just gives you a little more control. So you don't need the super dense foam in the midsole because these 2 layers themselves give you enough control. The last is straight, and unlike the 940, which has a lot of stitching in the upper and the mesh is a little more coarse, this is kind of the same upper as the Brooks Beast and the Brooks Ariel, so you're gonna breathe a lot better. These shoes are also feather light. So if you're going from more of a minimalist design or a mesh shoe type design and you want to go into more of the maximalist shoe realm, this is a perfect shoe to get you up in from that more designer shoe into the more prescription or health conscious shoe. These shoes are super light, so you won't notice the maximalist nature of them. Now sure, they don't have the dense foam as the Beast or the 940. However, The design of the foam in the midsole and then the adsorb layer, I think, is so good combined with the external heel counter that you just don't need it per se. Now, let's say you are prone to stress fractures, or you've had a heel fracture or an ankle fracture, you might want to check out the Beast or the 940. However, if you're just looking to prevent injury, you're not rehabbing an injury from something else, and you just want to get into a better shoe, a more foot doctor recommended shoe, here you go. Remember, training to break a mile record and training to win 5, 6, 7 matches in a row and win a tournament are two completely different things. If you can bend a shoe easily with your hands, it's no good. If the shoe is all mesh in the upper with no foxing or stitching, it's no good. And if the shoe is excessively narrow all throughout the shoe for aerodynamics, it's no good. You don't need a shoe that's going to help you break speed records. You need a shoe that's going to save your feet and legs for the next day on the tennis court. So remember, keep it simple, stay out of the doctor's office. Now remember, this list is by no means a panacea of shoes. If the shoe that you like or want to buy fits this criteria, then by all means, go out and get them. This list more serves as an idea starter for you, and these are just the shoes that I've trusted over time and that I've seen that's worked well with the patients that I've been treating in our office. So I hope everybody has a great day, great night, wherever you're tuning in from. Stick around this week and next week for the teardown of the Nike Vapor 10, Nike Vapor X, and the playtest and performance review of the Adidas Soul Court Boost. So stick around for those. Click the subscribe button, notification bell if you haven't already, so you can be the first to see those videos. And I'll see you next time.